Good morning. Imagine that day in and day out, the politicians talk about it. Day in and day out, the scientists conduct research, a pseudo research, present facts, and manufacture facts. Imagine day in and day out, the non-governmental organizations talk about it. Imagine that even United Nations and practically everybody on whom you should ordinarily depend says global warming, glaciers are melting, we are in for a hell, this is the end of the world. And so preponderant, so powerful and concerted the action by the apologists of the global warming is that the dissenters like me or others who say climate change is there but not the global warming are either not heard, if not ridiculed. And now comes a statement which takes away all the capacity to believe and have faith in these apologists of global warming. The carpet seems to have been snatched away from under the feet of these people and they have fallen flat. And people are stunned. The truth bomb about the global warming has unnerved them. And it is the prime agency which was earlier propagating the myth of global warming accepts that global warming is not a reality. A study they have undertaken, which started in 2014 at the University of Texas, and now it has been confirmed. It's a global research, and they have said that the global warming by itself, as a result of man-made pollution, as a result of the factory outputs, as a result of the exhaust of the cars, as a result of flying in the aeroplanes, is a myth. And the climate change that is happening, the heated rocks that are happening, the increased volcanic activity that is happening, and the glaciers that are melting, the ice caps that are melting on Arctic and Antarctic are not because of global warming. The real reason is geothermal heat source called a mantle plume that lies directly under a significant portion of Antarctica but is spread all over the globe. The co-author of the study, she admits that she thought it was crazy. But I don't see how we were so stupid to have ignored it. We have a storehouse of heat and the ice is on the top of that storehouse and naturally it will melt. And we ignored it. Whether they ignored it willfully or they ignored it out of ignorance, but they did ignore it and manipulate it like Rajinder Pachori of TERI, who said that the Himalayan glaciers are melting while they are not melting. And now NASA says in its truth bomb that the level of geothermal energy from the mental plume is about 150 milliwatts per square meter. Per square meter of the earth has 150 milliwatts of heat. And in comparison to other places, that's an average one. Take Yellowstone National Park, which is a geothermal hotspot, the way there are hot springs in Shimla in India. That produces 200 milliwatts per square meter, average throughout the entire park. You would be thinking what this mental plume is. Let me use a common man's language. It is a narrow stream of hot rock, not only lava, but hot stones, rising through the earth's mantle and mushrooming out just under the crust of the earth. The theory was offered earlier in 1970, but they could not explain how the geothermal activity could occur far away from the boundaries of tectonic plates. And now they have done it. And then, regarding proof, the scientists who were at one time apologists for the global warming, now they say that this heat, this mental plume, has been accumulating for hundreds and thousands of years. And the result is that this explains that the icy streams and the subglacial lakes are abundant in one region and dynamic in the other region, but they're melting. Now, as the movement takes place and these hot rocks change their place, and earlier this year, there was another evidence. The Scottish researchers found 91 previously unknown volcanoes, which were, some of them are as tall as 13,000 feet. They had erupted. Now, volcanoes erupting below the earth, in the sea, underneath the Antarctic ice sheet, did not erupt because you or I are driving cars. They are not erupting because the factories around us are belching heat or carbon dioxide or methane by the animals. What is amazing is that the global warming scientists have been especially concerned regarding the melting of the ice caps. And a recent discovery that the ice cap, a large chunk of ice, the size of Delaware County, split off from ice sheet, and it caused a complete range of scientific community. And it draws a time when Donald Trump was announcing the exit from that Paris, so-called Paris Agreement to reduce gaseous emission. And now Chris Mooney says that this breaking off chunk of ice of the Delaware was only because of the geothermal activity and Earth's mantle and the mental plume. The human activity had nothing to do with it. And if they had nothing to do with it, then why blame human activity for something which is beyond the control of humankind, which is a natural phenomenon which will keep on happening? Climate change has to happen. It has been happening over the ages. I suppose you remember in one of my talks earlier I had said, and referred to the book where it says that the earth has, as the civilization has always ended by an ice age, never by the heat. Now, people like Helena Africa, they agree that geothermal energy is possible, but still, being apologists for the global warming, they say the impact cannot be that much. And she says that the glaciologists are not worried about the processes, and this has been happening all the time. Now, the point arises, if this has been happening all the time, as now admitted by NASA, and even the apologists of the global warming like Helena Africa, then why this hullabaloo and noise? Why we are spending millions of dollars on a ghost warning that has no validity in real life? Why is it that we cannot see things for what they are? And that is that change is the law of nature. Things would change. There might be, and I would admit, a catalytic agent's action on the part of the human beings, but so minuscule that the progress should not halt because of that. The man-made global warming, as another meteorologist, one of the world-famous meteorologists, John Coleman, he's the founder of that weather channel on the TVs which you watch every day. He says that man-made global warming is a figment of dream. It never exists, it does not exist, and it cannot exist. Climate change, complex, was a reality turned into a scam by the global warming apologists. And the controversy that he raised is now being accepted by the scientific community as a whole, starting with NASA, going down to the diverse scientific organizations and agencies throughout the globe. The only thing that has happened now with this time bomb, or the truth bomb I like to call it, is that the liberal, progressive climate change, global warming doomsday scenario is not something real. It is a figment of a dream to delude the masses. It is exactly like those people who say the world will end on such and such date. I remember when I was a school student, they said that when the 8 planets are in one line, Ashtgrahi, the world would end. And that evening, I was amused to see people running out of their homes because the 8 planets are going to be in line. And then I muttered in my schoolboyish anger, well, if the world is going to end, what difference does it make whether you stay in the home or you run outside? Somebody said it will end in 2000, 2012, 2020, and so on and so forth. And never has that prediction come out to be true. Same is this scary thing about the global warming, which was a figment of imagination, a fit subject for getting the money from the governments, a fit subject for the politicians to pontificate on, and shame people in from doing things which were natural and which were a part of the progress of humanity. But more than that, it had no meaning. It had no validity. And this truth bomb by NASA itself shatters the myth of global warming, and the people can now heave a sigh of relief and live a life without fear of the global warming and accept climate change as a natural phenomenon. Thank you.